The Philippine Navy could soon expand to an unprecedented total of 8 frigates. This surprising statement came during the September 16, 2025 congressional hearing on the defense budget, when Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro made a remark that instantly sparked debate. Was this an indirect confirmation that Japan may transfer its Abukuma-Class destroyer escorts to Manila? Or was it simply a scenario under discussion? Today, we examine what was actually said, what defense analysts clarified, and what remains uncertain. Stay with me until the end. We also break down what this could mean for Philippine security in the South China Sea. Before we continue our discussion, don't forget to like button, subscribe, and the notification bell button from Pinoy Guard. Welcome back to Pinoy Guard. The fiscal year 2026 defense budget hearing was broadcast live on IBC Digital. In his testimony before the House Appropriations Committee, Secretary Teodoro mentioned that the Navy's force structure could soon include 8 frigates. This was a striking number. At present, the Navy operates just 4, the Jose Rizal-class guided missile frigates and the Del Pilar-class patrol frigates. With the recent delivery of the BRP Diego Silang, the last of the ordered South Korean-built ships, expectations were focused on the 2 new frigates already in planning. But Teodoro's reference to 8 implied that additional ships might be on the horizon. He did not elaborate on the specifics during the hearing, but his choice of words was enough to raise eyebrows, both in the chamber and across the defense community. Defense analyst Max Montero, known for his careful coverage of Philippine defense matters, quickly provided context. On his verified X account, at Montero Max, he explained, if the Abukuma-class destroyer escorts were transferred, the Philippine Navy could have a total of 8 frigates. This clarified that Teodoro's comment was not confirmation of a done deal, but an acknowledgement that discussions about acquiring retired Japanese ships are ongoing. Montero went further, reminding the public that the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, JMSDF, is expected to strip the vessels of some weapons and sensor systems before any transfer. According to him, Teodoro did not confirm the acquisition of the Abukuma-class, but questioned the terms. We expect some weapons and sensor systems to be removed, and the D&D and PN are prepared to replace at least the basic systems. This means that even if the ships do arrive, they may require significant refitting before becoming operationally useful. Adding further perspective, Vice Admiral Jose Ma. Ambrosio Espoleta, the flag officer in command of the Navy, gave an important statement. Cited by Max Defense Philippines, he confirmed that discussions with Japan are still in the early stages. That phrase, early stages, is critical. It signals that while the talks are real, they have not yet reached the level of formal agreement, much less signed contracts. This aligns with reports from outlets like Newsweek and OniNews.ph, which also noted exploratory discussions between Manila and Tokyo regarding possible transfers. Secretary Teodoro also clarified an important budgetary point. If the Abukuma-Class ships were indeed transferred, funding for their repairs and upgrades would not come from Horizon 3 modernization allocations. Instead, they would be covered by the Navy's General Appropriations Act, GAA, funds. Teodoro stated that such a transfer would not qualify as a modernization project, since the vessels are second-hand platforms. This places the responsibility for repairs, refits, and possible system upgrades squarely within the Navy's annual operating budget. For viewers, this distinction is crucial. It means that the Navy might gain new hulls for free, but will need to spend heavily to make them battle-ready. The Abukuma-Class destroyer escorts, first commissioned by Japan in the late 1980s, were designed primarily for anti-submarine warfare. Each displaces around 2,500 tons and carries a mix of torpedoes, anti-submarine rockets, and surface-to-air missiles. While no longer cutting-edge by JMSDF standards, these ships are still highly capable in patrol and escort roles. If integrated into the Philippine Navy, they would significantly expand fleet capacity, particularly for maritime domain awareness and presence operations in contested waters. But, as Montero warned, sensitive equipment will likely be stripped before handover. This could mean replacing fire control systems, sonar, or missile launchers, a costly and time-consuming process. Why does this matter? Because the Philippine Navy has long struggled with numbers. Even with the 2 new frigates in planning, the force would be stretched thin across the archipelago, especially with rising tensions in the West Philippine Sea. If the Abukuma-Class transfers materialize, the Navy's ability to maintain continuous presence around critical areas, like the Calayan Island Group or Scarborough Shoal, would be greatly improved. However, relying on older ships also carries risks: higher maintenance costs, limited survivability against modern threats, and heavy reliance on Allied support for replacement parts and systems. What we know so far. Teodoro stated during the budget hearing that the Navy could soon operate 8 frigates. 2 new frigates are already in planning, following the delivery of BRP Diego Silang. Talks with Japan on acquiring Abukuma-Class destroyer escorts have been acknowledged. Repairs and re-equipping would be funded through GAA funds, not Horizon 3 modernization. What has not been confirmed? A signed agreement with Japan for the Abukuma-Class transfer. Which systems would be removed before transfer? The precise cost of refitting the ships. A clear timeline for when, if ever, they might join the fleet. The idea of the Philippine Navy operating 8 frigates is tantalizing, and it would mark the largest expansion of the fleet in decades. But as of now, it remains a possibility under discussion, not a finalized fact. Secretary Teodoro's comments, Espoleta's caution, and Montero's clarifications all point to the same reality. Optimism must be balanced with realism. The Abukuma-Class transfer, if it happens, will strengthen the Navy. But it will also test the Philippines' ability to refit and sustain older ships in a challenging maritime environment. For now, the headline is clear. The Philippine Navy's future could soon include 8 frigates, but the details remain unresolved.